everyone. Hello, we're here for a conversation about Baptist Assembly. I'm Isabella Senior, the Baptist Together Young Leaders Development Coordinator, and I'm here joined with Lynn, who is our General Secretary, Tim Presswood, who will be the next Baptist President, and Kang-San, who is the BMS World Mission General Director. Great to be with you guys here. We're going to have a conversation about Baptist Assembly, which is happening from the 16th to 18th of June in Telford. And our theme for this year is Mission is ... So we're going to have lots of amazing conversations about mission in our Baptist movement. So to start us off, I thought I would ask you guys, why should people come to Baptist Assembly?
Well, I think that coming to Baptist Assembly is a fantastic opportunity to connect with others and to see what God's doing on a bigger picture. That's what really inspires me and gets me excited.
So good. Yeah.
I think this should come because they're Baptist. This is the opportunity for members of this diverse community, this weird community that we call Baptist Together, to come together, to learn from, to challenge one another. I'm part of an inner city Christian community, and sometimes it feels as though nobody understands what it's like to be a Christian in the inner city. But at Assembly, I meet with people from all around the country. I'm able to tell my story. I'm able to listen to their stories. And every year I find myself encouraged by connecting with so many different people.
Yeah, definitely, Tim. Thank you for that. It's definitely a great opportunity to connect with others in our Baptist movement and have conversations and meet new people. I wonder for you, Kang-San, why should people come to Baptist Assembly from your perspective?
Yeah, I think firstly, from a historical perspective, in terms of Baptist ecclesiology, while we are autonomous, we are also interdependent. We are not island churches by ourselves. And in those past years, whenever I've come to Baptist Assembly, it gives me just a bigger picture of how we are all together, one big family within the union. And also if you have read into some of the historical archives, for 200 years, the Baptist Assembly has been a key event where we meet together for worship, for prayer, fellowship. And in that context, sometimes God speaks to us, challenges with prophetic voices. So I think more than ever in this 21st century, where post-COVID, many challenges, an exciting future for the Baptist family to discern God's word. And we can only do it as one big family, and to listen to one another. So I am always praying, looking for prophetic insight to guide us. And assembly has been one of that key moments.
Thank you, Kang-San. That's so good. You started sharing a bit more what's actually going to happen when we are there over that weekend. So what should people expect from the time at Assembly? We mentioned worship and prophetic insights. Is there anything else that you guys think people should be excited and looking forward to for this weekend?
I think people should expect the unexpected. Of course, we have a program. We've got some great speakers. We've got some great events going on. But if I may be brutally honest, occasionally I come out from a main session and I've got no particularly strong feeling that God was speaking to me through that speaker. But then over a coffee, I discovered that the person sitting next to me has just had a life-changing encounter with the living God. So for me, some of the most significant moments of Assembly have come out of those unexpected moments, those unexpected alternative spaces even. For example, I personally find a lot of encouragement from a quieter style of worship. And so being able to go into the prayer space that we're organising for this year to spend time on my own quietly with God, thinking about the work of Renew Wellbeing that we're putting together. That feels a very significant space for me, but I might be wrong. It might be in one of the loud main sessions where I find God. Who knows? God does.
I always think there's lots of really precious moments at Assembly. There's the time, I really love the time when we commission and pray for those ministers who are becoming fully accredited and new mission personnel. That is just so incredible, both to pray for them and also, I think, in a sense, for any of us who are leaders to think about our own kind of commissioning and a sense of recommitment for ourselves is really, really precious. And then there's that very, very moving time. If you've been to Assembly before, you'll know that we set aside a time in prayer and worship where we remember those ministers that have died and mission personnel who've died in the past 12 months. And that's again very moving as we celebrate and we honour those who've gone before us and thank God for them and their contribution. I also really love and am very passionate about the youth and children's programme. I've got 4 kids and they've all been through the youth and children's programme. 2 are still in the youth programme. But do you know what? All of my children have made lasting friendships through the kids programme, and it's a really great opportunity. So I'd encourage you, if you've got children, young people, bring them along too, because it's a fantastic opportunity for them to get a bigger picture of what God's doing. And it's not so huge as some of these things like Spring Harvest or whatever. It's a great opportunity to connect with other Baptists and to connect young people and adults together.
Yeah, definitely.
And relating to what Lynn was saying, I think it's not just for ministers, for lay leaders, for young people, young adults, families. It is to be able to meet with others, and sometimes, like what Tim was saying, those unexpected meals that you have, you just meet just a whole variety of people, and sometimes lasting friendship can take place. So I say expect to be encouraged, to be challenged, to see God's family together. But let me also speak to the BMS content. This year, we are going to 1 year on to share about Ukraine. And we want to share about the immense impact that has been made with the outpouring of generosities from UK churches. To be able to see that big picture when combined, the UK churches have given generously, sacrificially. And we want to share so that you hear of the latest report about tremendous, encouraging transformation stories that God is doing out of Ukraine. And that can encourage us in the UK as we too welcome Ukrainian families to UK shores. But secondly, we also want to be sharing from Afghanistan, understanding what is it like for Christians to live and work under the rule of Taliban, and hearing moving insights that we can rarely pick up from our news media. And so this is a unique opportunity for the Baptist family to get special coverage.
Another thing I appreciate about Assembly is the networking zone. I think that's really energizing to be able to go around and see these different things, and you get obviously people get chatting, and you can get resources, you can get inspiration, maybe new ideas, or maybe just encouragement that something you're plugging away at is actually it's going to be good, and really be encouraged in that. So that's wonderful. I enjoy the networking zone tremendously. This year, we're also going to have a space dedicated to help us engage with our consultation around accredited ministry and marriage. There will be a space for the whole of Saturday that's set aside for this, and you can go in there and you'll be able to share any things you want to have heard using postcards and things. There'll be an art area if you want to express your thoughts and feelings in a different way, maybe to the survey. And there will be an opportunity if you don't have internet access at home to be able to access the survey, and we'll give you your unique code there so you can come and do that too. So there's lots of spaces for engaging together and for being resourced and inspired and encouraged.
Thank you, Lynn. And with our theme about mission, we'll be reflecting on Matthew 28 from verse 16 to 20. And one thing that I'm particularly looking forward to having there in Assembly is a multi-voice input, where we're going to hear from different people from different perspectives, similar to what we're having here right now, actually. well, we're going to be thinking about what is mission from each perspective, from each context, and being able to connect with others, have a conversation about that. So on that, I just wondered if you wanted to share a bit more about the seminars that we're going to have. We're going to have the main input, and then also some of the seminars, and some different groups sharing that perspective on mission.
Yeah, so there's a great program of seminars exploring lots of different aspects of mission. So I'm sure there's going to be something for everyone. 3 that I've just noted down here, and others may have some other ideas. So there's going to be a seminar about mission and evangelism. That's really important. A seminar about church planting, a seminar about digital church. And these all these different topics we're going to look at. It's going to be really interactive and engaging. So be prepared. You can sit there and listen if you want to, but also you've got the opportunity to talk with others, learn from experience, share your experience. This is a way that we can inspire one another and listen to one another in these areas.
Yeah, definitely. I'll be leading one of the seminars as well with the Young Adults Roundtable, and it's all about growing young leaders, what is mission among young leaders and young adults. So lots there for people to engage and to learn and get inspired. And we're going to have a main speaker as well, someone that's coming as a guest speaker to speak to us. Who is that, and why is it important that we know about that and we engage with that conversation?
We're really delighted that Bishop Mike Royal, who's the General Secretary of Churches Together in England, is coming to be our main speaker this year. He's a fantastic guy, really energising and spiritually wise, and got a lot to give to us. Previously, he was the co-chief executive of the Cinnamon Network too. So he's got a heart for mission, he's got a heart for community engagement and a track record in that. And he's also got a real passion for unity across God's church as we seek to be faithful to the mission God's given us. I'm sure he's going to bring us lots of encouragement, and I'm sure he's going to bring us some challenge too. And it's going to be fantastic to have him with us.
That's so good. Thank you, Lynn. Looking forward to it that as well, to meeting Mike and also to meeting lots of other people that will be there at Assembly. And so on that note, who might we meet? For those that are considering going to Assembly, what sort of people and what sort of conversations do you think people will have when we are there together?
I think for me, the most important thing is that I meet people who are different to me. People who've met Jesus in different places. People who have experienced God's love in different ways to me. I'm an urban Christian. I'm always challenged by folk who faithfully proclaim Jesus in tiny rural communities. You know, in Manchester, if we were able to reach just 1% of the population, we'd have 5,000 people in our congregation. But in some of our churches, if they reached 100% of the population, there'd only be 50 people in their church. Mission looks very different in different places. And I think it's really important to meet with all this rainbow-coloured community that we call Baptists Together. And it's worth adding that as we look to support our churches and to support those who find themselves in leadership of our churches, one of the groups of people that you can meet are folk like me, your regional teams, the regional associations. We're all going to be at Assembly this year. We're all going to have a presence at Assembly. So the opportunity is there for folk who perhaps haven't engaged with association life as much in the past. They're able to engage with us at Assembly this year.
Who might you meet? Maybe your future spouse. Or somebody. But seriously, from BMS perspective, the Assembly is really important for us. And a number of us have always been there together, and to be able to meet as many people, especially those churches that we have not been able to visit in the past year. So I think it is, I'm just reflecting when I was in Malaysia, growing up in a small church, going to this major assembly have really helped me. And I think some of us who feel that we are in a particular small church somewhere, but whenever we come to the assembly, God reminds us of this bigger family that we belong to here in this land.
Along with the association teams, it's fantastic we can connect and relate there. Also, the specialist teams will be there too, and there are opportunities to be resourced. So if you're finding it difficult to get to some level 3 safeguarding training, there's an opportunity for that. If you've really got a burning question about property or things like that, there are people there who can either help you there and then, or make sure that you get in contact with the right person. So very, very practical things, as well as lots of other inspiring relational things too, and maybe even future relationships.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you guys for sharing. And from each of your different perspectives as well, what will you be talking about there at Assembly? What's in your heart that you want to share, that you will share when we are there over that weekend together?
For BMS, in terms we'll be doing the seminars, and along with the idea of the team mission is we are going to bring a provocative title to look at is mission racist? Is mission primarily just from the West to the rest? Or in this future global shift of world Christianity, how do we do mission in a post-colonial way in terms of understanding of justice, inequality, power? What can the Baptist Church rethink, reimagine mission is that is beyond ethnicity?
Wow, that's so good. Thank you, Kang-San. That's really exciting. Yeah, quite challenging and exciting and thought-provoking. It looks like it's going to be a great conversation. What about you, Tim? Because you're coming on as the new president. What's your theme and what you're going to be talking about?
My theme is sharing in Christ's great banquet, taken from Luke 14, obviously. Jesus uses this image of a great banquet to illustrate the abundant life to which he invites us all. But the original invitees to that banquet, they all find more important things to do than come to the great banquet. And so Jesus, also the host, ends up sending out servants to compel the marginalized, the poor, the needy to come in and feast with him. But he doesn't ask them to come in as waiters. He doesn't ask them to come in as cooks or washers up. Importantly, he doesn't leave them to pick up the crumbs from underneath the table of the great banquet. He invites them to sit with him, to share fully in that great banquet. And so my passion is to see a church in which everybody is invited to share in that great feast. And I want to challenge our churches. What would our churches look like if we genuinely went out and compelled the marginalized, the excluded? We genuinely invited them to come in and share Christ's great banquet to the full. Would our churches still look the same as they do today, or would they need to change in order to accommodate this great feast?
That's so good.
For me, maybe it's not so much platform time. It's the one-to-one conversations. I'm just looking forward to meeting people, meeting you, having a conversation, seeing what's going on. It's really fantastic to get a real feel for what's happening at the grassroots. I will have the opportunity to share really about kind of where we're at. That's what I call my state of the nation kind of talk. And it's always a really good opportunity just for 10 minutes, just to kind of say, okay, what is God doing? What are we noticing that God's doing? How are we joining in with that? How is he challenging us? What's the future looking like as we're seeking to be faithful to Jesus in our times?
That's great. Thank you, Lynn. Thank you. Well, thank you, Tim, Kang-San, and Lynn for this conversation. Look forward to meeting you all at Baptist Assembly and all of you watching this interview as well. See you there.
See you all in Telford.
See you in Telford.